What's the old saying? It's better late than never. The boys are finally out to drop the TNA Hard to Kill review. It only took 3 days longer than it should. But who knows who's to blame for that one? The damn internet. Let's get it going. It's time to kick it with a TSK. Let's go. TNA is back, the TSK is back. It's happy 1 year anniversary of Kicking It with the TSK as we do a special review of TNA's Hard to Kill. We're back. Happy 2024 to all y'all out there. It's Rob, it's DC, it's Harold. Again, I'm doing the pointing thing, and I hope this adds up again. I swear to God, I'm going to talk to the editing guy. That's myself. And we're going to figure it out in post. But it is what it is, boys. We just watched the TNA show. Your boy just finally watched the full-blown TNA show. Hey, it was a show. hey, what did we say? Son of a gun. He knew it too, because he kept I could see the expression on his face. He knew it was going to go down. And he's gone and he's back. I'm going to literally leave all this in. This is going to be the greatest bit. It's the greatest opening in TSK history. Not just this year, then history of the TSK. Since, again, reminding y'all, it is the 1 year anniversary. It's been 1 year. I mean, we started this whole show. It was Discord discussions.
Yeah.
The Smarty Pants. Remember the Smarty Pants name? Try to sound professional.
Boys.
Now we're like, nah, fuck that shit.
Boys.
We're kicking it with the boys.
Oh
my goodness.
Please do.
You know what? I have to tap on it. The funniest, but not the funniest part. The best, giggity. The best part about it, of kicking it with the TSK is it's branched numerous different shows now.
Yeah.
We've got the pile driver pundit over here and my man DC. We got Rob doing his stuff with Nicola and Mike Larkin. We've, the expansion, possible expansion of Harold and DC happening doing some food stuff, or some movies, not food stuff, some movies. So that's Kyle with the food stuff, and we'll figure out. That one guy, Kyle, might come back with some random food stuff. I mean, hey, he's still in the intro. He's
in the ether somewhere.
This is why I love Harold so much. That's why I love him. He's my man. All right. Ramble on forever. I swear we will. We'll be on for 2 hours with a big old giant smile on our face. But we can't go on that long. We got to talk about TNA's Hard to Kill. TNA is officially back. That's the one fun thing about this whole bit is it's no longer Impact Wrestling. It's not GC Dub or GF Dub or GPD, whatever the fuck Jeff Jarrett wanted to call it. I don't give a crap. TNA is back. The logo is revamped and nice. Every freaking championship looks absolutely choice.
Chef's kiss.
And even had a decent pre-show. Chef's kiss, indeed. The only one of these that matters to me and should matter to you guys was Crazy Steve against Tommy Dreamer in a no disqualification match for the TNA Digital Media title. That thing looks awesome. It's shaped in the form of Batman, as a lot of people would say. I think it's a little bit. I think it's very much Batman, maybe just fatter. I do love the motherboard, circuit board looking kind of background of it.
It's different.
But as for the match, we got to talk about Crazy Steve. I don't think Crazy Steve's ever won a singles title in TNA until tonight.
He's had this digital title before.
Oh, well then, hey, wait. Shows you how much I know.
I mean, he's a former tag team champion with Abyss.
That's true. That's more of normally what I'm used to seeing of Crazy Steve is his tag team time. So happy to see that Tommy Dreamer, the old man, debuted the new belt, but ended up dropping it to a TNA original. So, speaking of something that was TNA original, the Ultimate X match, we're going to go right into the show here. And this featured the ladies. This was the winner of this match got to, it's Ultimate X for those that don't remember, or don't know, I should say, is basically like Money in the Bank. Am I wrong?
No.
Okay.
No.
Basically like Money in the Bank.
You're not wrong.
But the way to get to this X briefcase, or this X whatever you want to call it, is way cooler than any ladder match you'll ever fucking see. I promise you. I promise you. It is suspended above the ring just as a briefcase would be. But instead of using a ladder, there is no ladders. You have to climb your turnbuckle, and there's 4 corners. So there's these 4 fucking like ropes that are like connected, and you gotta go
it's like an obstacle course.
upside down or fucking hang on. You gotta have some mad upper body strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't me.
Yeah.
Not me.
Give you some, some of that Ninja Warrior
Definitely
life.
couldn't be me.
Good stuff.
Give me a ladder.
So we had just a.
Big
I
sturdy
need
steps.
multiple ladders.
Big
Okay,
sturdy
one with big sturdy steps.
step.
Because your boy will fall and he'll just tumble it. He'll tumble back. There it is.
Hashtag big
Giselle
sturdy
Shaw.
steps.
That's right. Giselle Shaw, Tasha Steelz, Alicia Edwards, the debuting Zaya Brookside, Jody Threat, and Danny Luna, who, by the way, was the most impressive out of all of these ladies during this match. Didn't know your name, and now I know it, and we're doing research later. This is how it should be done on some of these shows. Giselle Shaw, I've known of her. She's been in TNA for a little bit now. I don't think this is I want to say she's maybe gotten a shot at Trinity once before. Maybe, perhaps. I'm not too sure about that. That somebody's gonna have to fact check me. Where's beer when I need him? But yeah, this talking about the match as a whole. This was fun. I could have absolutely been given a worse introduction into an Ultimate X match, but this was very good. And even though it maybe wasn't the greatest Ultimate X match in all of the history of Ultimate X, it was good. It was very good and a damn good way to open the show.
Yeah, I think this was a damn great way to open the show. This was, I'm sure, an introduction to some of these ladies for the first time for a lot of people.
Oh, for sure.
Some people who may be coming back to TNA that haven't really given it a chance in the last couple of years. I think this was a great opening match.
Agreed. I can say, every match placement on this card was done perfectly. And I wasn't really familiar with really any of the ladies in this match. Giselle Shaw I'd heard of. I'd seen a couple clips. Every lady in this match was able to get their specific spots in, their stuff in, and they all looked like $1 million.
You guys will remember Jody Threat. She was the one that got the crap kicked out of her by Athena on Dark.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you guys remember that.
Yeah, I mean, kind of bumping off of what
Harold, any
DC
thoughts on this
said.
Ultimate
Everyone
X
got
match?
their shine in this match. Everybody looked good. Other than obviously the winner looking better than everybody else in the end, everybody looked fairly good. And the pace, as we move into the next match and the matches afterwards, like DC was saying, the pace of this event was just spot on.
Oh yeah, no, it flowed. It absolutely flowed. That's for one thing. If you blinked and you missed it, and that's your own fault for blinking. That's for sure. Trust me, I am a sucker of circumstances, and we'll get into that as the show goes on. But we had Giselle Shaw ends up garnering the briefcase. It was her, I want to say Zaya Brookside and Tasha Steelz all up on the top rope, fighting for it for a minute. And it ended up being Giselle who walks away with it. So wonder how long it's going to take for her to see the eventual champion again. We'll save it for the fun recap. Speaking of fun recaps, AJ Francis has made his way. Another former WWE fella has made his way into the Impact Zone. I have to say it. The TNA. Let's go. I'll say TNA. Let's go with TNA. Not trying to ruin them. Everybody loves Joe Hendry, and if you don't, you really just don't open your mind to pro wrestling. I think he's just so much fun. But he could choke slam to absolute fucking hell by AJ Francis. That was probably one of the better choke slams I've seen in a long time. And if that's gonna be a move, he does keep doing it. You know, but it's got to keep looking like that. I'm not okay. I love PCO, but I know nothing of Dirty Dango. I know exactly who this mofo is. I have just no idea in his whole little stable of guys. So PCO comes out in this ultimate Hollywood entrance where he's like brought out on a stretcher. It's Frankenstein, the whole whatever. I think it was DC that pointed out this dude's been wrestling since the early 90s.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's 2024, and he's still like it's
and still wrestling
all the
well.
credit to him. Thank you. I'm downplaying the man. I appreciate that he is wrestling well at a higher level than he has in the past, and on top of that, he's a tad bit more death-defying than I've ever seen him.
They used to call Terry Funk middle-aged and crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
PCO was obviously, as usual, taking bumps that you would not expect him to take and walking away from it as if nothing happened. Dango taking some bumps from PCO that I didn't expect him to take, and I even mentioned myself, I would not take that bump. Some of those were rough. I mean, as endearing as he is.
No.
That specifically that headbutt into the apron or whatever that was just that was gnarly.
That one was gnarly indeed.
I mean, because for people that don't know, like the makeup of a wrestling ring, the apron is all steel. Like there's no mat there. It's solid steel.
Yeah, it is the frame of the ring is what we're getting at.
Like
it is the frame. So it is meant to be just
solid. It ain't moving.
Probably a little worse because we're talking about like fucking quarter inch.
Well, I mean that's the only thing I can compare
this big old steel tubing. You know what I'm saying? But regardless of the point, so the match is supposed to be Dirty Dango versus PCO. Is it Johnny Bravo? I forget. I want to say it's his name, but now he's called Alpha Bravo. He looks like, I think I called him Rob Dyrdek in 2013 or whatever, and it fits beautifully, and I'll keep saying it. This dude gets into it. Santino Marella is, I forget his actual title, but he's basically like an acting commissioner.
Director of Operations.
And he comes out. Thank you. That's right, Director of Operations. And so he comes out. And he's like, did you guys really think I was going to let this match end like this? If you think no, then you are correct. And I fucking died laughing. I don't give a shit. Santino's always going to get a fucking pop from me. But Jake something did come out, and so did Rhino. So this ends up turning into a tag match. It was no good. Let's just be frank. It wasn't good. Rhino has looked the same for about 13 years. That's not saying too much. But PCO hits his moonsault. His PCO salt, if you will, on Johnny Bravo, on Alpha Bravo, sorry, for the dub. We move on.
I don't think
we saw Ruin.
No.
He's not human.
He's not aged.
No. You know what? There's an old saying, or there's a saying by a different wrestler who's a giant motherfucker. But in reality, I think this is the real machine is PCO.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Brian Cage. All right, we see a woman arriving to the arena in a limo, but we don't know exactly who it is. All of a sudden, we get a surprise Knockouts Tag Team Championship match. I had no idea, because I was like, I don't remember this from predictions. What the hell are we talking about? I remember this from the predictions. So it's MK Ultra, which is Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly against the returning Decay, Havoc, and Rosemary. The second the music hit, and that beautifully, horrifyingly creepy entrance goes about, because I've always, like, I don't want to say feared Decay. They've always given me the heebie-jeebies. Okay, they do their job. Okay, they do their job. They've always given me the heebie-jeebies, and when they came out, I already knew. I was like, it's an impromptu tag match. It's an impromptu tag match. Give them the belts. That's what it was for. It was a passing of the torch. But was anybody else excited to see the return of Decay? I know, fucking Rob's smiling ear to ear over here. Him and Nicola dang near jumped off the screens.
I'm
Harold,
not.
anything on this?
I enjoyed
are
the
you
match.
familiar with Havoc
fun
and
pace
Rosemary?
again, the pace just kind of picked up where the last match left off. They hit a lot of great tag moves that I thought were pretty cool. It was just like kind of one was coming in the ring, one was going out of the ring, and they were just hitting moves in between. It was just the chemistry was great. For a women's tag match, it was very entertaining. Yeah.
Especially impromptu.
You know, and I'll say Havoc, for being a bigger girl, moves well. Like, she moves quickly. You know, it's...
You wouldn't know she liked to eat.
She's got agility, baby.
I think one of the best... I think one of the best things that Impact did in the last year was to put Killer Kelly and Masha together. Their dog collar match was absolutely nuts.
I'm going to bed.
I've seen that, but that thing was man, it was done very, very well. And to put them together, I think was great. But to put them against Decay, I mean, you know where most of us were standing with that. So,
well, right now, in all reality, I don't think anybody against Decay is gonna win. Especially, I mean, hell, even look at Crazy Steve. Even, I mean, nobody will beat Decay, at least not for a while, and that's probably for the best. So, TNA, we get a couple of sponsorship announcements, and then we get Scott D'Amore comes out to the ring. It's a nice reaction. He has AAA's CEO. What the fuck is homeboy's name? I think it's like Dorian Pena. I think is his name. And they're talking about them wanting to bring more Lucha Libre to America with TNA, and that's going to help change the landscape of wrestling. And I'm 1,000% for it. I mean, we didn't talk about this thing, and we'll talk about it at the end. But I mean, what was that term Tony Khan used a couple of years ago? The forbidden door. Yeah. There wasn't a door in it. If it's a door, it's a garage door, and it stays open. Okay, it just stays open right now. Nobody's tripping. Nobody's stealing nothing.
They're
just going in and out.
Yeah, I was going to mention it, and I'm sure we're going to touch on it a little later on. Obviously, there was somebody big who showed up at New Japan tonight. It's just awesome that we get Nick Nemeth on TNA. We get him in New Japan. We'll probably see him in AEW at some point with his brother. Probably on Ring of Honor. AAA's in the mix. CMLL's in the mix. Noah's in the mix now. It's just... It's a who's who of who can show up at any time.
Possibilities are endless.
It's fun.
I think it's safe to say that any doors open, it could be just like the territory days all over again. You never know who's going to show up on a show.
And, you know, to a lesser extent, you know, maybe it was a one-time thing. We had Charlie Dempsey in All Japan, which if you guys haven't seen that match, you need to, because fuck, that was incredible.
Yeah, don't forget about us.
All Japan has kind of stuck their foot in the door and said, hey, don't shut it quite just yet.
Yeah. Exactly. Do not forget about us. And as I was talking about this, and we kept talking about how the pace of this whole pay-per-view had moved and how it just everything was going and going and going. Well, apparently I missed the best one, because that's how it goes. You know what I mean? You get away for a little bit, all of a sudden you miss the best thing since sliced bread, at least according to the announcers. And hell, according to whoever wrote the F4W report as well, because his exact three first words of his report was, "This match ruled." So, you know your boy fucked
Not
up.
wrong.
X Division Championship match.
Not wrong.
Chris Sabian, Kushida, El Hijo del Vikingo. Rob, I need somebody. I need somebody to walk your boy through it.
I mean, this had everything you want. If you're a fan of lucha, if you're a fan of what any of these guys do, I think this was probably, I'll just go ahead and say match of the night, or at least up there with the tag match. Chris Sabin is X Division legend. We were kind of giving him the business for being so up there in age, but come to find out, he's only like 2 or 3 years older than some of us. But
He's still older.
he is still older, but
Right? That's still old.
not by as much as I thought.
It still counts. It still counts.
But just to see what he's doing after 20 years.
Oh, wow.
I think they even mentioned he was the inaugural X Division champion.
Oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, so just to see what he's done with the title, and with Kushida and Vikingo, like, we could, like I was saying, we were giving him the business about being the old guy, but he still relatively held his own with these younger guys, and it was great.
And one thing they also pointed out is he has held every single design of the X Division title.
That's
literally
true.
every version that they've ever had, he's held it.
Yeah, they did mention that.
It's crazy.
Well, as a 10-time champion.
Yeah, I was going to say this match had a great flow to it. Like Rob was saying, had a great mix of styles. You had the Lucha Libre, you had Puro strikes, you had submissions, a few high spots here and there, of course, with Vikingo. I had mentioned during the match, I felt like Vikingo was kind of giving me old school Amazing Red vibes back in the old school TNA days. So that was fun to see. It was just all around entertaining match.
Special shout out to Kushida's haircut.
Right.
Murder Grandpa took care of him before the pay-per-view, so honorable mention there.
Oh God. Okay. If there's one thing I'm doing after this show, as I should be editing, it's going to be watching that match back. But one match I'm glad that I didn't miss. I did want to see it. I was excited about it. Alex Hammerstone, Josh Alexander, the Walking Weapon. We could call him the other name right now, but we're trying not to get canceled so early in the show.
New year, new us.
I really enjoyed this match. I figured that this was going to be every bit as like hard-hitting Josh Alexander style of match. It's a bunch of suplexes, work the mat game, the whole everything. And it was that and a little bit more. Hammerstone, when he left MLW, he had already looked the part in that however long he was gone, all of a couple of weeks, he somehow worked harder and got either bigger or more cut. I can't tell because he's always been so goddamn massive. He did get like 4 shades darker in a tan, though. Like, you got to slow down the spray tan. That was a little mucho. It's a little mucho. But other than the giant spray tan and him, the fact being just a giant man, I really, truly enjoyed this match. For me, this was one of those matches where it showed you what Alex is good at. It showed you what he does well, but it showed you why Josh Alexander is a former 2-time TNA champion.
Exactly. I think this was a good introduction to people who may not be familiar with Hammerstone either. Because I know a lot of people aren't going out of their way to watch MLW, which you probably should, because they're putting on some quality stuff as well.
It's been getting way better.
Yeah, definitely better. But I think this was a good matchup for Hammer to kind of showcase what he can do in front of this crowd, at least. So hopefully this is not the end for him in TNA.
God, I hope not. Harold, your thoughts? I mean, you were a guy that's followed Hammerstone for a bit. You've been on the bandwagon.
I felt
up
like
and down
it was a tale from the perspective of both guys being in a desperate position. Hammerstone obviously outpowers Alexander. Anytime he hit Alexander with something, it hit hard and it rocked Alexander. But Alexander, using the technical prowess, was targeting the leg the whole match. So Hammerstone at first was like, okay, it's bugging me, but I can power through this. As the match went on, he sold it so well that his leg was bugging him. Now these moves that he's hitting aren't having the same sting that they were having before.
Yes.
And Alexander just basically worked his way up from the bottom underdog position and then got the win in the match. I thought that was kind of a cool perspective. I felt like both guys were like the underdog in the match. It was weird, but it was different. So it was cool.
And I'll say, from my perspective, the psychology in the match was perfect. Like, you know, going further on what you said, Harold, the false finishes that we got, like, there were so many times where you think, okay, you know, Hammerstone's got it, the ref's getting ready to count 3, right at those. Sometimes it can be overdone, but this is like, it was so well done. Both guys looked like $1 million. And who knows what's going on with Hammerstone? You know, is he sticking around? Is he going to AEW, going to WWE? Who knows? But what is clear is that he had a great match. You know, it's with a bigger guy and a smaller guy, it doesn't always work. But holy shit, did it work?
It worked tonight.
It definitely worked tonight.
It worked tonight. So I just want to highlight a couple of things on the end of this match. It was just a back and forth slugfest. Hammerstone ate a power bomb, then gets German suplex, gets hit with a C4 spike. How we end it. Josh Alexander is obviously going to have the new TNA champion in his sights. This was my match of the night. I'm sure by the time I go back and watch the X Division match, I'll probably change my mind. But for the ones that I did watch, TNA Tag Team Championship match, ABC, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, The Rascals, Mike Bailey and Laredo Kid, who is, was it like a substituting, if you will, for Trent Seven against the grizzled young veterans making their debut here on TNA. Just friggin' wow. Okay? And Rob can attest to this one. We saw, I want to say, ABC was at the house show at the Globe Theater. I want to say so was the Rascals, but I think I'm wrong on that one. But ABC, they are faster for somehow, like live. For some reason, they feel like they're like faster than they are on TV. And tonight they actually matched it. I don't know how, but they were just as fast as I had imagined. They were never at any point the down opponent. They were the guys outside waiting for an opportunity, but they were never the down opponent. And this was an absolute showcase.
Yep.
Speedball Mike Bailey has to be like a fucking underdog MVP for TNA. The guy was an unknown. He was one of these signings where everybody was like, they wanted to make fun. I remember there was a time when everybody made fun of Mike Bailey because he would walk around repping the fact that he was Jewish and the fact that he was a karate black belt. And everybody doesn't think karate's sexy. And it didn't matter because this guy could fucking work his ass off. And I'm so glad that he's here in TNA because he's getting that fucking beautiful time to shine. Laredo Kid's Laredo Kid. I'm sorry, bro. I can't say anything about him. It's like exactly. It's like saying it's like trying to go talking about Rey Mysterio. The second you say Rey Mysterio, you're just like, okay, expectations are met. And the grizzled young veterans, for a team where we didn't know what they were gonna do. We weren't sure if they were just gonna decide to go back home. Maybe they're gonna go to Japan or go to Australia. But they show up here, and they didn't miss a fucking beat. They look incredible. They're in incredible shape. They got fit. They don't miss a fucking beat. I am extremely excited to see what the future holds for the grizzled young vets here in TNA. TNA is where I'm loving tag teams. That's how excited I am.
Especially with the grizzled
I'm loving
young
tag
vets kind of
teams.
being the odd team out in this because everybody's a little more into the lucha kind of thing.
Big time.
And they still done so damn well with everybody else. Like they didn't miss a step at all.
One of the things that I want to point out, and that something that TNA has always done well, is tag team wrestling.
Yes.
From the very beginning up until now, they've just always done it well. You know, if you think of some of the greats that they've had, you know, America's Most Wanted. You know, they reinvented Team 3D. You know,
Yep.
you know, and they've always done it well. Decay, even, you know, Abyss and Crazy Steve, and even, you know, the late great, you know, Jay Briscoe. He and Mark, you know, were one-time Impact Tag Team champions.
Mhm.
Impact.
The point is they're a staple for tag teams.
Yeah.
TNA has always done so well with tag team wrestling, and looking at who they have, I'm all for it. Tag team wrestling, to me, in my opinion, is a lost art.
Yeah, with this match,
getting there.
I personally felt like I was watching. I don't know why I'm getting Double Dragon vibes, like old school, like 2D scroller graphics with just these guys with these. They have this look.
You know
Their
what?
partner has this look that matches theirs. This other team has this totally separate look, and they all look like $1 million. Ace Austin and Chris Bay looked like $1 billion if everybody else looked like $1 million. At the beginning, I was like, "Damn, they look good." When they won the match,
Seriously.
I was like, "Damn, they look good." I feel bad for grizzled young vets because I thought it was going to be their night, but Ace Austin and Chris Bay looking real good in this match.
Well, I think it builds up to, you know, eventually we get ABC versus Grizzled Young Veterans. You know, whether you do that the next pay-per-view or, you know, and I think Grizzled Young Veterans, I think, had a lot more to prove, you know, to everyone else to say, hey, we're more than, you know, what we were in NXT. And let's be real here, not a lot of people watch NXT UK.
No.
So, having said that, you know, if you had seen what they have done in NXT UK, you would have seen how fucking incredible those guys were. Mm-hmm. So I think now they're looking at it like, okay, watch us see what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed us.
They are in the position to force you to pay attention to them. And I think at this point we have no choice, especially after this showing. And speaking of not really, I wouldn't say not having a choice, but I think the options were laid on the table, and we know exactly what the option this person is taking. If, to my knowledge, her contract expires, I believe, on this coming Friday, if I'm not mistaken.
Next Friday.
Trinity will no longer be a part of TNA. Rumor has it she's going back to WWE. So what do? You drop the title to pretty much a TNA staple in Jordynne Grace. Whether you love her, whether you hate her, whether you're grossed out by the muscles, whether you love the muscles, whether you want to see the live sex scene with her and Jonathan Gresham, whether you don't want to see the live sex scene in her and Jonathan Gresham. I don't know.
If you have no idea what he's talking about, you got to go check her Twitter.
You have to go check her Twitter. Okay, so Jordynne Grace had actually put up on Twitter that if she wins the TNA Knockouts Championship, that she will recreate the Edge and Lita live sex celebration on TNA with no neck Gresham. Sorry, Gresham.
Neck.
You're my man, but brother man, you ain't got no neck. No neck. Love it. All right. So Trinity's TNA Impact career, I'm gonna keep saying it. Her Impact career has been good. It hasn't been over the top. It hasn't taken the world by storm. Her showing up in Impact or TNA, whatever you want to call it right now, was the thing that took everybody by storm. Her run has been okay. It's been exactly what you expected it to be. Hasn't been the greatest thing ever. This is like the second or third match, probably the second match I've seen out of hers, and this one was really good. This one makes me want to see like this level of athleticism out of Trinity, out of Naomi, when we see her back showing up in WWE, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. I want to keep seeing this. I want to keep seeing this style. You know, I remember the glow concept that she had in WWE, but she didn't exactly have the wrestling to match it. You know what I mean? She did her splits, she did her thing,
The acrobatic stuff.
Going to different companies forces you to actually learn how to do this thing called wrestling. So she had to do it. Jordynne Grace, I want to say, helped her through a good match. It was a good combination. It flowed okay. It was a little slow, cutting a little bit on the sloppy side, but it
there
still
was a few spots
worked
that
out. In
Jordynne Grace got a little stiff with Naomi, and I kind of felt like it must have been like a little like a going away present.
Yeah. Hey,
You know, I think
receipt for you.
part of the reason that she went to Impact instead of just going back to WWE earlier was I think she wanted to prove to herself and
She
to
has
WWE
value.
that, hey, I can do this. And I can, exactly. So when she does go back to WWE, she won't get, lost in the shuffle with, whoever else. And I think this will make her stand out. I already made this prediction to Rob. What I think is, would be kind of something different if they really wanted to go left field with her. We'll see.
I think this was probably the best thing she could have ever done.
Easily.
I know once she left WWE, people were already writing her off, like, "Oh, she's not going to wrestle anymore. She's not going to do this. She's not going to do that." Like she held the title, like, and she put on decent matches. We got to see another side of her that we didn't see in WWE, and just the fact that she took the chance and bet on herself, like that's major props, because not a lot of people are going to have the fortitude to do so, and she did that thing.
The fortitude.
I was going to say balls, but that wouldn't really apply here.
Nope, fortitude's more better.
So props to her.
Intestinal fortitude.
If she does go back to WWE, hopefully, she does get some opportunities, because she can do it.
Yeah, give her some fucking love, damn it. She's earned it, you sons of bitches. All right, main event time. Alex Shelley, Moose, TNA, world title. I'm not the biggest Alex Shelley fan. Moose is good. I like Moose. I keep talking about Moose, but I hate saying it like this. I do, and I'm not trying to be mean to you, Moose, but I keep thinking of you as the former left tackle that randomly showed up at fucking WCPW in England, and you would wrestle, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, the fucking theme song is so catchy," and then you turned into this. You turned into a true pro wrestler, brother. You turned into a true pro wrestler. So I'm happy to see where he's come from. I mean, he was the guy that tried to bring back the TNA World Title when it was impacted anyway. So, I mean, I'm glad to see that he won the belt. I don't think this is like a necessary knock on Shelley. I mean, I may be knocking on him because I'm not the biggest fan. But I don't mean as far as him losing the belt.
I love Alex Shelley. I think he's, one of my top 5 easy. I can see where there was a bit of a disconnect in this match. There was a bit of a styles clash, no pun intended, with these two. It wasn't necessarily the best match, but it was fine for what it was. To see where Moose has come from, because I wasn't the biggest Moose fan either when I first kind of started diving into Impact and TNA, but to see the work that he's put in, because I follow him on Instagram, and the fact that he's taking this seriously and training and getting his diet right, and just putting in the work to look the part, like he deserves that title. I mean, he deserved it last time. Kind of screwed over Josh Alexander a bit, but he definitely, I was happy to see him win. Still love Alex Shelley. Really, really, really hoping for a Motor City Machine Guns run, but we'll see.
Ooh.
And if you also remember, during Alex Shelley's entrance, he came out with Kushida and Chris Sabin, both tag teams that he's been in.
Time Machine. Time splitters.
So I mean, it's like you said, Rabbit. For what it wasn't bad.
No.
Sometimes styles clashes. Again, pun very much intended. It can work. This one, it wasn't terrible, but I don't know. But Moose, moves well for a big guy, for a tall dude. And you know what? Good for him.
The height discrepancy.
Yeah, I feel like
crap.
this match,
No, huge.
also with the women's match,
Big
compared to the matches that just came before it, it was a little slowed down in the pace at this point. The last two matches, I did feel a little bit of a disconnect. Just because the other matches were just so high speed, high profile. What kind of saved this match was Moose's athleticism that he's had throughout this entire time. That kind of always has carried him through his career. Makes him look like $1 million when he does hit his spots. I mean, it was what it was. It was cool.
You can complain if you want, but I mean, in all reality, it was a good main event. Maybe not your favorite main event, but again, we went from the tag match, which was bang, 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 to something like this. So yes, you are going to get, as Harold put beautifully, a little bit of a disconnect. But Moose is your new TNA champion headed into the TNA era, I should say, as he's celebrating. Nick Nemeth is shown on the screen. There's some music. Everybody's going bananas. He's standing in the crowd. Super kicks Moose. Hits the zigzag, which is just like just a basic ass move. I've always hated it, and I'm always going to continue to hate it. I'm going to follow him in TNA and still hate on this move just because I like where he's at. Anyway, he's super motivated and fired up that he's there. He tears his one shirt off and shows that he's got a TNA shirt underneath. The guy showed up in New Japan. Then he showed up here, and then, I mean, I think there's a possibility he could be in AEW. There's a possibility he could show up, again, as we said, CMLL, AAA. The possibilities are endless, and that just makes me truly, truly start to think, is that whole idea that, Triple H is going to partner with TNA and have this thing, is he too fucking late, and it's too late because AEW is already doing it?
WWE gets involved, it'll be a landmark moment. I don't think it will ever be something that goes under the radar.
No.
I mean, Tony's already got 90% of the, 95% of, everybody working together. Like, he just needs that last 5%, which is WWE. If we can, keep his Twitter fingers under control for a bit, we might get that at some point. But
yeah, right.
Danielson, get the fine ready.
Yeah.
Get the fines ready.
But
go ahead.
To go off what Harold said, I think given the size of WWE and their history, and they have been so closed off for forever.
Decades.
The fact, and people say, oh, well, it's just an NXT thing. The fact that you had a WWE superstar competing in another promotion in a televised and promoted match, people say, well, what about when Taz is a WWE superstar won the ECW title? That was a favor. That was a favor to Paul Heyman. Given that, it's a huge moment because it's something that as fans we think it'll never happen. So, I mean, is it outside the realm of possibility? I don't think so.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Now, I do want to talk about Nick Nemeth here really quick. I do want to emphasize on him. I know we've just gone all over the place and talked about how he could show up here, there, everywhere, your grandma's house, Santa Claus, wherever. What fits him the best? That's right, he's going to go hang out in the North Pole and pack your presents. He's got a whole year to start working. But that's what I want. I want to know. Do you like again? We saw Ryan. We saw his Brian. Oh, we saw his Brian. We saw his brother Ryan. I'm over here meshing words together. We saw his brother Ryan Nemeth in AEW. Didn't really catch too much fire. A lot of people mainly hated his BTE segments. I can't say I blame him. But Nick obviously has way more attention. He's obviously a way bigger attention grabber. Hell, the guy still gets random comparisons to Shawn Michaels, for fuck's sake. So. Where does he fit best? Is TNA the perfect spot for him? Should he be in AEW? Should he go overseas and maybe hang out in Japan for a bit? Should he go to Mexico and learn Spanish? Where do you see
Some
Nick
people
Nemeth
may not know
having the biggest
that
impact?
Nick Nemeth spends a lot of time, him and his brother, with the Lucha Bros. They hang out often. They train together often. And Nick Nemeth often makes appearances at the Republic of Lucha shop that the Lucha Bros run. So I wouldn't be surprised if several conversations with Mexican promotions have happened. Even while he was under contract, I'm sure he was chatting it up with people backstage at the show. So at this point, him appearing in Mexico, I think it's a done deal. He's going to Mexico for sure at some point.
Don't give a damn.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think you see him
For
at
sure.
AAA Mania. I'm probably saying it wrong.
No, Triple Mania for sure.
Yeah, I think you see him there.
Oh yeah.
I think you see him in the G1 next year, or let's try this year.
This year.
I'm excited for it. I will be. Let me stop myself. I'll be bummed out if he's not. Let's go with that.
I wouldn't be surprised if it happens.
Yeah.
So I think he's one of those people, no matter where he goes, he's going to be fine.
I can see that. And Rob, you're thinking TNA is his best spot?
I think
Exactly.
TNA is probably the best spot right now. He can be the big fish in the little pond and kind of steer the ship, so to speak. He's got this title match coming up with Finlay right now. I think the way they got the ball rolling on that was absolutely perfect. Him, diving over the table and attacking Finlay and cutting that promo like that's not Dolph Ziggler. Like I've never seen Dolph Ziggler cut a promo like that. Like what were the words to his theme? I'm here to show the world. Like he's finally here to show the world what he can really do, and I am all for it. If he shows up in TNA, stays in New Japan, hell, even comes to a GCW show, bring it.
Hey,
And I
possibilities are endless.
think what this does, we got a bigger picture with Impact and him there. It gets more eyes back on Impact. It gets people giving them a second look. And people who, didn't order the show tonight, which, shame on you. But it gets eyes back on Impact when they hear, oh, Dolph Ziggler shows up on Impact. Or he showed up at the TNA pay-per-view. They're going to want to check out the next Impact, and see what's going on. And I think it's a great thing.
Fantastic
indeed. I mean, again, the reality of the matter is as we keep saying, like, he could show up in New Japan and do a little something, and there's going to be some people from New Japan that are going to be like, oh, cool, let me go watch Impact. Or he'll show up in AAA and do some shit, and there'll be some Mexican fans that want to go watch Impact, regardless of the fact this is garnering attention, just like the TNA's return, just like Hard to Kill did. It was an okay show. I don't want to shit on it too much, okay? I was negative Nancy. I was negative Nancy at first. I'm not even gonna lie. I said the show wasn't for me, But you got, and I knew this was gonna happen. You put it out beautifully. Not everything was meant to hit on the same cylinder, as they say in music. There's a BP. Not everything was on. Was the same rhythm count. So it was a TNA show. I'm not used to a TNA show, but for what it was, I'll definitely say it was a thumbs up. I'm excited to see where they go from here. I think TNA has a real future ahead of themselves, not just with the stars they're bringing in, but the quality of matches that they're putting on, and the quality of like promo work as well. You can't gloss over the promo work. So, last thoughts, final thoughts on Hard to Kill.
It's a great show. Huge upside for TNA. You know, I'm excited to kind of start watching these shows and kind of adding them into our repertoire of things we get to talk about. That just means more TSK shows.
Yeah.
We talk about, what was the name of this pay-per-view? Hard to Kill. For years, people have written off TNA. How many times? It's dead. It's dying. It's this. It's that.
They were ripping them off, bro. They were writing this fucking company off back when I was in high school.
TNA is the very epitome of Hard to Kill. They are that old children's story, The Little Engine That Could.
Yeah.
TNA is still going strong, and sometimes you have to lose it all to get back up. And what that did,
For sure.
I think there's nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, I feel like
and I'm here for the ride.
I wasn't completely blown away by the pay-per-view. I feel like this was consistent with the last few pay-per-views from TNA/Impact that I've seen. And for me, it just kind of confirmed that they are stepping in the right direction, because the last maybe 3 to 5 pay-per-views we've had, it's just, you could see the progression is there. It's just getting better and better, and this just kind of kept it consistent. It didn't like raise the bar crazy for me. It just kept it consistent. I think people who haven't been watching TNA or Impact, who tuned in tonight, will see what we've been seeing for a while, that TNA is putting out a good product that is worth putting your eyes on.
Exactly. I think we can all agree to that one. TNA, as Rob put beautifully, TNA is officially on the watch list, boys. It's time to get on the back of it. It's time to get on with it. Before we end this, though, I quickly have to bring up the not so elephant in the room, the very bearded man that was wearing a Desperado mask, who did the little. Who did he jump, by the way? I don't remember
Shooter.
who he jumped. Oh, he does try to jump. Shota Umunu, and that's the one man they call Jack Perry, Jackalis Pereski, as I call him. Apparently rips up his AEW fucking contract in the middle of a New Japan ring, and I don't know what this means. Do any of you guys have a guess?
There was a little more to it, I guess. He pulled out an armband or whatever that said Scapegoat, and he hit the Raven pose.
Okay.
So
I
getting
like
little
that.
Raven Jack Perry, maybe.
A little
Okay.
whiny,
I
spoiled
always
brat
loved Raven.
style
Can't be
thing.
mad.
Okay.
I do too.
Woe is
Well,
me.
the Raven.
Yeah.
Spoiled little rich kid.
I love it.
What about me? What about Jungie?
Okay.
What about Jungie?
Yeah. I mean, he's got the look. If he's going to be building a stable in New Japan, let's fucking go.
And here's the question: not if he builds that stable in New Japan, does he eventually lead that stable back into
Or maybe even
AEW
up
through the next
letting
forbidden
bits.
door?
Hell yeah.
You never know.
And do we
For sure.
get sort of like maybe like an invasion kind of
what
thing?
ifs?
Oh, okay. Now we're going into territories beyond our own control. That is a whole goddamn
I was gonna
say,
episode.
for the
My
next-
brain is
the
going
next.
bananas.
Got to give a little taste,
A little taste for the people out there. Speaking of a little taste,
a little appetizer, if you will.
there it is. Well, this is a big appetizer for you. Nice big old heaping, helping plate of about an hour for y'all. So I appreciate y'all. We all appreciate y'all stopping by. But as we do before we let y'all go, we had to hit the plug-arenas. I know DC's been doing some work. The podcast pundits hitting it hard. I want to say episode 3 finally dropped.
Yep.
So that's good stuff. Anything else happening in the works?
Got episode 4 recording tomorrow. We'll touch on this and some of the biggest rumors. We got Jack Perry, which we just mentioned. We've got, a lot of free agency coming up.
Lots of free agency coming up.
It's a wild time.
It's a wild time to be a wrestling fan. Harold, what's the word? I know everything's still on the hiatus. I'm
You
chomping
and me
at the bit. I'm
both,
still
brother.
rewatching the Back to the
Greystone
Future episode
Mansion
like
episode
19
is
times over.
coming. It is slowly in the works, because there's a lot of films that were filmed there that we got to cut in the footage and kind of match up. So it's taken a while. Plus, like we had mentioned, the European cruise is coming in summer of this year. So stay tuned. The Two Sweet Click Adventures on YouTube and Instagram. Check us out.
Oh my goodness, it's a whole lot of craziness coming out of the Two Sweet Click, especially on that side of the thing. I can't wait to see some stuff off a boat. I finally can't get seasick. Rob, it's constantly happening. Every time I turn around, I'm seeing something else. If it's not with DC, it's with you. Mike Larkin is back all over the place. The podcast machine had went and shut that back down, but somebody upgraded his operating system and he's back hunting and hitting hard. Yeah, what else you got going with Mike, and are you going to go back to doing anything on your own?
Yeah, we definitely got something going. We're actually going to be recording tomorrow. Unironically enough, we're going to be doing history of GFW and Impact show, talking about the history and an infamous incident where Jeff Jarrett starts throwing tortillas into a certain stadium.
No,
we will be covering that.
Not the tortillas.
Yes, the tortillas for the amigos.
No.
We're actually going to be recording that episode tomorrow, and I think next week we'll be recording Royal Rumble predictions. So that's deep into the heart of wrestling with myself, Mike Larkin, and my demon sister Nicola, which we will probably be geeking out over, Decay, like we do.
I think she's probably
trust me. It's replaying in my head as we speak. To hear Nicola just go into absolute, just crazy mode, and it's not about football. It warms my heart, even though deep down it's supposed to be black. But it is what it is.
But as far as doing stuff on my own, I've actually got a couple of things going. I'm looking to drop some new music, hopefully this spring, summer-ish. Got many projects in the works. Now that our friend is officially a doctor, I will be calling him up soon.
Yes.
As far as Consuming Fire, Grave to Fire, we've got things in the works there. I'm actually working on some content on my own, guitar lessons, drum lessons, music lessons in general, as well as some fitness stuff, because it's a new year. And you got to get in shape. Like, you can't be
that's right.
Get some abs for the summer, you know what I mean? So definitely a lot of things going on. So
what's the old saying? It's like don't be like, when my dad can't keep up with me. No, you make sure you break them kids' ankles when you're 45. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be.
Right.
So, giant shout out if we haven't done it already. I'm going to definitely do it again on Max. Gigantic shout out to the one, the only, the reason we're all put here together right now. Emir, Blackbane, Costello, we appreciate you. Congratulations on your doctorate. We could not be more proud. And with that being said, we clap it up for you. We will too sweet y'all on the way out. We appreciate y'all stopping by for this TNA review. We'll be back for another one. I think AEW's got one in March. So hopefully we'll be back before then. But if not, we'll see you then. Too sweet boys. Yeah, congrats, big doctor man. Check the prostate, doc.